How did your brother scare you?
He would like come at me like across the room and like get in my face. But when we were younger, he would like literally push us down and like get in our face and like pin us down and like wouldn't let us go.
Yo, what up? This is John with the Dr. John Delony Show. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. Welcome. Hey, if you are in a bad mood, have we got the show for you? I just said that. I don't even know what's coming in the show. So if you're in a bad mood, this actually might not be the show for you. It might, though. Here's what's cool about it. You're going to find out at the end whether you shouldn't have listened to it or you should have. That's the cool thing. That's what we do here on the show. If you want to be on it, go to johndelony.com/ask or give me a shout at 1-844-693-3291. After this incredible show intro, you can see what just high quality this thing is. If you will, make sure you subscribe on the tubes or to podcasts. That would be awesome. One quick funny thing. So right after the show, as soon as the show's over, I'm going to sprint into the next studio over here and do a national media hit. And it's a pretty long interview on basically the biology of women's stress and the way the pandemic has affected women particularly and the elevated stress that women are experiencing. And this morning I was telling my wife, I was like, hey, I've got to do a long interview today about women's stress. And she just sat down in the chair and looked at me and goes, really? Tell me more. Male. And so she was right. So I thought that was a good reminder to everybody. Sometimes I answer questions on the show. It's kind of ridiculous that I'm answering these shows, right? I don't have lived experience in all of these things. And so I always want to point back to experts when I can. I always want to point back to the science when I can. And most importantly, the reason I love the show is that it's real people telling their real stories and the real experiences that they're having in their lives. And so always remember, man, I went to a lot of school, but I'm still figuring this out too. And I love walking alongside people. I do. And tonight, you can rest assured, I will not be talking to my wife about what I know about women's stress. I'll be asking her, how are you? While I'm doing the dishes and vacuuming at the same time. Let's go to Tyler in Dallas. What's up, Tyler?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can. What's up?
Okay. So I don't know where to start.
Just anywhere is cool. We can make it up as we go.
Okay. I have come, I guess, to the conclusion that my parents were very emotional, immature, I think is the word. And it was really hard. And like growing up, and I had an older brother who like really scared me a lot. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't know what to do. Yeah. And I, as a 15-year-old, what else do you do? Yeah. I say that kind of like as a joke.
How did your brother scare you?
Just like really aggressively. It wasn't anything like sexual or anything, but just, he would like come at me like across the room mm-hmm. and like get in my face. And
did he ever hit you?
Not so much like by the time I was 15. But when we were younger, he would like literally push us down and like get in our face and like pin us down and like wouldn't let us go. Yeah. And
you said us. Did you have other siblings in the house?
Yeah, I have two older brothers and a younger sister. Mm. And I would like lay awake and like be scared. Yeah. And I don't know. Sometimes I just wish my sister was a little bit more vocal than I was, and I was scared for her. Yeah. And I would just think, like, just hush, like you don't know what he's gonna do. Yeah. And anyway,
I'm
sorry.
Hey, no, don't hold on. Never apologize. Okay. I'm so sorry that happened. Your older brother is supposed to be your pathway through life, right? Supposed to clear the deck for his baby sister. Supposed to hold her up. Hold on. Your brother should have given you some things that he didn't give you, and I'm so sorry. And your parents should not have let that nonsense go on, and I'm so sorry.
Thank you. And I've never actually said like things like that out loud.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm just by myself a lot because I just don't want to be around people, and your mind can take advantage of you sometimes. And I started like self-harming, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe is the term to use. I don't know.
That's all clinically. Tell me about what actually happens in practice.
I guess maybe like cutting myself.
Yeah.
And anyway, it was never for like suicidal reasons. It was just I don't know how I got to that point. I don't know how. I don't know what made me think that was a good thing to do. I don't know. Anyway, so that's kind of the premise of my recent problems. I had and I did that all through high school. And then after high school, it got a lot better. My brother did eventually move out and eventually stopped coming back. And so that helped a lot. And I met my husband, and that helped a lot. And so I thought I was getting better. And anyway, and then 2 years ago, I had my second son. And around 3 to 4 months, I noticed there was just something different. And I couldn't handle it. I just couldn't handle it. And I just sort of like started, I guess, cutting myself again. And I didn't know what to do. And over time, I think I've gotten a little better. But now I worry that, like, what if it comes back? And, I have kids now, and I don't know what to do. And I want to talk to someone, but I don't know, like, necessarily what to say. And
yeah.
I don't know. I'm worried that, like, if I start talking to, like, let's say a professional, does that mean I have to kind of like tell everyone else? And because I don't want to tell everyone else. I don't know if that's like the wrong way to look at it, but I don't want anyone to know. And my husband does know as far as before we met, but I don't think he knows like recently, and unless he just doesn't want to say, I don't know. And I don't want him to start worrying about me. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
So number one, Tyler, this is some of the bravest 5 minutes that has ever taken place on this show. Okay?
Okay.
In your heart, silence keeps you safe.
Mm-hmm.
Disappearing keeps you safe. And it has your whole life. And at the same time, our bodies will scream at us from the inside out. Help, 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 right? And you watched your sister who talked a lot. She got it worse than you did.
Mm-hmm.
And you've learned silence. And that thing that kept you alive is now slowly burying you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, before we start walking into some of this, I need you to hear me say loudly, when you tell me that you're cutting, that doesn't even make my eyebrows go up. You're not broken. You're not screwed up. You're not messed up. You're not dysfunctional. You're not less than, okay? And if you've listened to this show, people tell me things and I go, whoa, oh my goodness, I'm not doing that with this, okay?
Okay.
I can tell that this is a coping strategy you don't want to use anymore. And I applaud that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's some way better coping strategies. But given what you've experienced, and I bet you and I could sit down for a couple of hours over some nachos and you could tell me some stories that would make my eyebrows go through the top of my forehead. Is that probably true?
Mhm.
Is that honestly true?
Yeah, just things like my parents used to say.
That's right. And that your brother
Keep me up sometimes.
Yeah, there you go. And so the first thing, will you do me a huge favor? I want you to take as deep a breath as you possibly can. Hold it all the way in and breathe it all the way in and hold it. Ready, go. Hold it and let it out. And right now, I bet your shoulders are 2 inches from your ears. I want you just to drop them down. Okay?
Okay.
Saying you're hurt out loud is one of the single bravest things you can do. And you just did it. And I'm so proud of you. I'm glad to call you my friend. Okay?
Okay.
So cutting is, I'll do a whole show on it one day. We'll do a whole segment on it one day, okay? That's not for today, but we'll do that one day. We'll kind of walk through it all. Ultimately, over the last 20 years, I've worked with so many young people, usually women, young women who are dealing with stressors that exceed their body's ability to help themselves. Okay, it's when like this cup only holds this much water, and the pipe bursts above it. And I've been really inspired by Dr. Anna Lemke's work about dopamine and how the pain-pleasure balance works and all that, but most of the time, over the last 20 years, the words I've heard repeatedly are something along the lines of, I just had to feel something. I needed a release. It doesn't even hurt. It just makes everything feel a little bit better. Do any one of those 3 words apply to your situation?
Yeah, I would definitely say it was just, it was, I don't know, it seems simple.
Don't minimize it. Which one of the ones that made the most sense to you just then?
Maybe maybe the last one. You may have to repeat it.
Just that everything builds up inside so much, and it doesn't even hurt as much as I can see it. Mm-hmm. I can see the bits of blood. I can see it. I can feel it, and then shortly thereafter, whoosh.
Yes, definitely.
Like how your voice is right now after taking one deep breath and dropping your shoulders. It's that, right? Mm-hmm. Our bodies release our own opioids when we're hurt. And sometimes there's a hack to it's not an all the way opiate. It's not like taking, oxys or something, but there is a path that way that sometimes just goes okay? Mm-hmm. I want you to know, as a little girl who had a repeated trauma with her big brother, you had a bear that your body was trying to run from, except he lived in the next room over, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. That you have a little cup underneath a pipe that had burst and it just overflowed. And so as a high school kid, I'm so sorry that you had to deal with that by yourself. You're not screwed up from cutting. Where you end up getting yourself, where I've seen people get themselves into trouble, let me say it that way, with cutting is the shame that follows. And everything is about secrecy. Everything is about, I've got this tool, I've got this hack that lets me get to the next minute and to the next minute and to the next minute. And as I've heard you say it, I don't want anyone to, if I tell a therapist, I have to tell everybody. I don't even want my husband to know. That's the language of shame. That's the language of somewhere deep inside is a little girl asking herself, why wouldn't my parents just freaking protect me? And they didn't. Why didn't my older brother be the normal older brother and beat up my boyfriends and make jokes, but also I knew I was a princess around him? Why didn't I get that older brother, right? Mm-hmm. Does that sound right?
Yes. I used to look at my friends and when they're siblings, and I don't know how they had that.
So here is the I want to take cutting and put it over to the side for a second, because as far as I'm concerned right now, cutting's not the problem. Cutting's the solution, okay? Mm-hmm. So when you feel that urge, and also it's super common with post-pregnancy, okay? Postpartum cutting is super common too. There's that sense of like, I don't know, what are we doing? And it just builds and builds and builds and builds, right? Going back to, I've got that little cup and it's overflowing. So let's put cutting over to the side here, okay? That's not the problem. The problem, again, this is you and I talking for just a few minutes here, but the big neon sign that I want to start with is what kept you alive is now hurting you. Okay? The same thing that kept you alive is now hurting you, and that's silence. The greatest gift you can give your body, your husband, your children, you, is to begin to tell your story. Okay. It's to, as the great Brene Brown says, shame eats secrets for breakfast. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start to lean into a secret-free life. And here's what that will do. It will be the most exposing. It will be like running down the street naked in a parade. Okay? You've never done it. You've never had to do it. And it's going to be a skill that you're going to have to learn and practice. And it's going to come in fits and starts and rages and tears and yelling and hiding. It's going to come all that stuff. So expect it. The same as you went and had surgery and you have to go through rehab. That's where we're at now. We're going to learn how to tell what happened. And we're going to do that with a therapist who knows what they're talking about. And when you go see a counselor, you have to tell nobody. And if the counselor tells somebody, they're breaking the law, okay? And their license gets taken away. But this story's got to be told. Just feel how your body feels right now after saying it once for the first time.
Yeah.
And when you find yourself in a position where you feel like cutting, you're going to develop, and it's not going to take you super long. You're going to develop a language with your husband where you say, hey, I'm feeling really stressed right now. And that's not you being a wimp. That's not you running and hiding. That's you understanding that your voice matters, that your role in your relationship matters, that you matter, and that right now things are piling up on me. Sure, we all know that 7 miles down the road, what that could end up at. That could end up as me cutting again. That could end up as me having too many drinks. Or in my house, that could end up with me and 4 cartons of ice cream in the middle of the front yard, and I'm not wearing a shirt. I'm just sitting there in a bathing suit like a weirdo, right? We all know where that could go. Those are all solutions. The problems are back here. Mm-hmm. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah.
I'm nervous you're going to get off the phone and you're going to feel better for about 5 minutes and you're not going to say anything.
I don't know what to say.
Would you call a counselor today in your area and tell them I'm not okay?
Yeah, I can.
Do you promise that you'll do that?
I promise.
My dad, he was a homicide detective for a long time, but then he became a minister for a for several years. And so since my dad's a minister, if you lie to me, you'll get struck by lightning or something like that.
Goodness.
It's not really true. I just made that up.
No.
Do you promise you'll make that call?
I will.
Okay.
I will.
And here's the second conversation. I want you to bring your husband on board.
Okay.
Will you tell him that you're not okay?
I will. I may let him listen to this call, maybe.
It won't come out for like a month.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Nice try, Tyler.
I know. Buying time.
Okay, how about this? Okay, well, they're going to clip it and they're going to send it to you. Is that cool?
Okay, yeah, that's great.
Here's what I heard when you just mentioned your husband. He's an incredible guy, isn't he?
He is.
Like, of all of the men who failed you before, your brothers, your dad, he stepped up, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's going to be hard to reach out across that in trust. And I think he's earned that, according to you, right? He's earned that trust. And
yeah.
So I want you to do it while holding his hands, okay?
Okay.
So here's how the conversation goes. I talked to this podcaster today, and your husband's going to go, what? I thought you were, and he's going to be like, I know, I made a call. And then we held hands, and then I want you to hold his hands and say, I've got some hard things I got to tell you, starting with, I'm not okay. Starting with, the stress is built up, and I've got some stuff that I've got to deal with from all the way back to when I was a little girl, but it's paying off right now. I've started cutting again. I'm stressed and I'm struggling. And I'm going to reach out to a counselor, and I want you to walk alongside me in this. I want you just to say it just like that.
Okay.
Okay? And he sounds like a man who will grab you in his arms and hold you tight and say, I love you. I'm not going to try to solve you. I'm not going to try to give you advice. I love you. And then we're going to start from there. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Is that the kind of guy he is?
Yeah, he's the best.
So good. So good. Can I tell you, I don't come face to face, nose to nose, eye to eye with bravery very often, and I did today. And you and I could, like I say, we could spend, this is just scratching the surface of this call, and I know that, sweetie. And I know that you and I could talk for a long time about cutting and about trauma and about your brother's abuse and about your parents' dysfunction. I know all that stuff. But right now, everything is you looking in the mirror and saying, I got 2 little babies, I got a great husband, and most importantly, I got me. And I'm worth this conversation. I'm worth calling and getting help. I'm worth not carrying this stuff around. I'm not carrying my parents' crap anymore. I'm not carrying my brother's crap anymore. I'm changing this family tree, and it starts today. So grateful for you, Tyler. Bravery. We'll be right back. Have you ever thought about how a lot of us would drop anything to help somebody else, but we often don't give ourselves the same level of care? We spend time, energy, money on everyone else. But when it comes to making time for vacation, for exercise, for talking with a mentor, for sleep, even going to therapy, we don't do it. And we don't even realize it. We don't even think about it. You are worth it. This month, BetterHelp Online Therapy wants to remind you that you are important, that you are worth being well, and therapy is a super important way you can show up for yourself. BetterHelp is online therapy that offers video, phone, even live chat sessions with your therapist. You don't even have to see anyone on a camera if you don't want to. It's more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Today, Dr. John Delony Show listeners get 10% off their first month. So decide to invest in yourself. You are worth it. And go to betterhelp.com/Delony to get 10% off. That's betterhelp.com/Delony. All right, we are back. Let's go to Jacob in St. Louis. What's up, Jacob?
Not much, Dr. John. How about you?
Man, we're getting there, man. We're getting there. What's up?
I just had a question for you. I was wondering your thoughts on how much detail of my trauma I should share with my wife.
Whew, that's a great question. Tell me more.
So I've been through a bit, lots of childhood trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So she knows that some stuff has happened. We just haven't gone into a whole lot of detail on some things. She knows she's seen some of my scars, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No, dude, you're good, brother.
So I've got a therapist that I go to. I've got a really good group of guys around me. I don't want to add too much onto her. And I know that we're walking through life together somewhat. I just don't know where that line is because I don't want to weigh her down too much.
Man, your heart's so good, man. And good for you for doing the hard work of getting a counselor, getting a group of people around you. That's awesome. Good for you, man. So you know this, and so I'm going to talk to the audience, and I'm going to talk to you like we're having a conversation, but really I'm talking to a broader audience for about 30 seconds. Is that cool?
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
You know the difference between discussion of general trauma and gory details, right?
Yeah.
There's a difference between saying, hey, that guy hit me, and that guy beat the crap out of me, and that guy ripped chunks of flesh out with a board because it had a nail in it, and he wouldn't stop hitting me that one time. And then he made me get dressed and go to church, right? You see the difference in those 3 stories?
Yeah.
And what I've found in my own personal life, dealing with my own trauma and walking alongside folks, is there's this, I want to be known, and I want to be fully known, and I want to be fully loved. I want both of those things. I think that's the core human need, right, is to be known and loved. And when I can let somebody know and say, hey, I was abused, And they'll go, man, I'm so sorry. And then I want to be like, yeah, but you don't fully know. Hold on, right? And the temptation is to keep going and going and going. And then here's the other temptation. For most people who were abused, had some sort of trauma, who then go on a healing journey, we become protectors. Am I right?
Yeah, that's absolutely me.
We look out for the others. That becomes our life's work. I'm on a podcast right now, right? I mean, it's like this is what we become. This is who we become. We help other people, whether we're accountants and we notice that woman at the coffee machine, her head's hanging a little low. We just become highly attuned to other people's hurt. Why? Because it kept us alive, kept us safe, right? So here's what I'm going to challenge you to do, and this is hard. Actually, before I challenge you with my challenge, I'm going to write my challenge down here. Why now? Why has this come up?
I stuffed it for a while, and it's been 4 years of therapy, and I just recently got married, actually, so 5 weeks tomorrow. So that's probably part of it.
Yeah. Or as they say, all of it. That could be a lot of it, man. Is any of your trauma family in origin? Tell me some high level, as much as you're comfortable with.
High level, I was abused sexually in some ways by my mother and father.
Okay.
Physically abused father, stepfather, mother.
Okay.
Couple elementary school teachers as well.
Okay.
That's the super high level, but mostly family of origin. Yeah.
So your brain's it's put a pin, right? It's put a GPS pin in a couple of narratives. Husband and wife, not safe. Teachers, not safe. Uncles, not safe, right? You see where I'm going? Or men in power over me, not safe.
Yeah.
What do you do for a living right now?
I'm a program manager in a training department. Okay. So I make sure everybody gets trained.
There you go. Yeah, you will make sure everybody. Gosh, the trauma just keeps replaying itself. Or the roots, the rings that my dad used to say, like you throw a brick into a lake and the rings just go, right? And people who have experienced trauma who then go on to become helpers, it's almost like a script sometimes. So you get married, you bring somebody really, really close to you, your body's going to sound the alarms that, hey, we remember this, Jacob, not good, right?
Yeah, yep.
And you also have done enough work. And you're an golly, I wish I could connect you with the previous caller, man, because she was brave as all get out. You're brave as all get out, and you're just her down the road a bit. Because she's starting her bravery journey now.
Yeah.
And that's not true. She's been on a brave journey forever. She's starting the healing process in a new way.
I'm proud of her. I just wanted to yell through the phone.
I know. Me too. I just want to. Yeah, it's so good, man. But hey, she'll hear the chorus of people who love her too, and you will also. So you've done enough of your work to know the only way to have a good marriage, the only way for you to continue to heal is to actually get closer to the relationship. At the same time, your body is going, what are you doing? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you're going to try to protect your wife. And so here's the challenge for you, okay?
Okay.
Is to let her be an adult. And this is what I mean by that. How old is she?
She's a year older than me. She's 29.
Okay. All right. So she's seen life too. It's not like you're 19 and she's 18, right?
Yeah.
And I know I'm an ageist when it comes to some of this stuff. Everybody has to shake it off. So she's 29, you're 28. This is where you invite her in, invite her to a counseling session, or you let her know, I think at some point in our relationship, I'm going to want to tell you some of the depths of the things I've experienced. But I also want to respect your boundaries of what you want to hear, what you can hear, what you're interested in hearing. And let her own autonomy. Okay?
All right.
And you're going to have to dial back the protector impulse you have, which you've developed honestly and good over the last 20 years, 30 years. And also, you're going to be co-creating a new relationship that you've never experienced before, which is where both people say their needs out loud and both people work to help the other person meet their needs.
Mm-hmm.
You see how what we're doing here?
Yeah, I do.
So don't protect her and don't bomb her either. Invite her into the conversation and also say, if you don't want to hear the gory details, and you may want to use more sophisticated, eloquent language than that. My wife tells me that sometimes I'm a little bit obtuse when I just put things out there, and I could probably be a little more sensitive. If she wants to hear some of the details, you would love to tell her someday. You'd love to invite her into that conversation when she's ready, if she's ready. And you may want to do that with your counselor the first time, because that's been a safe place for you to do your trauma work, right?
Yeah. And she's part of the reason I married her is she actually started going to counseling with me
Awesome.
before I even proposed. So,
there you go. So y'all have a routine already, right?
We do.
Okay. And so maybe in your next counseling session, does she still go with you?
Yeah, we alternate. So, one week one of us, and then the other week we'll go together.
Golly, dude, your marriage. You realize, dude, you have changed your family tree.
That's what I
You
wanted
did,
to do.
Jacob. No, not going. You did. And most people at the Walmart or wherever aren't going to see underneath your flannel shirt that you're wearing and see all those scars and the burn marks and the scars. They're not going to see it. But your grandkids that haven't been born yet will be a beneficiary because you turned and stared down that forest fire. Like I don't want you to miss that, because the 4 years, every other week, it turns into this, and I'm going to work, and I'm making sure Billy hasn't turned his programming thing in, and the TPS reports, and the cover sheets. I need you to hear me say the work you have done is generational, and I'm proud of you. And it sucked, didn't it?
Yeah, it has sucked a lot.
The way you said that's awesome. Yeah, I did, John. Thanks for bringing that up, idiot. Yes, it's so hard. I'm so proud of you. There couldn't be a better call on planet Earth. I'm so grateful that these things lined up this way. Jenna, man, Kelly, y'all, so great that Tyler entering into the story and you at the transition phase, man, so beautiful, so beautiful. I'm proud of you, my brother. Invite her into that conversation. You guys are way down the road. I'd bring it up at the next counseling session and just say, hey, I would like to invite you into some deeper details here, and I want to give you permission to say, I don't want to be a part of those things. I love you and I don't need to know those things, or I am interested in knowing those things deeper. And give her permission, and don't hate her either way. Don't get upset either way. It's not personal. It's her stating her boundaries and her needs, which are awesome. And they'll shift over time too, one way or the other. So incredible. I'm going to give you a copy of Own Your Past, Change Your Future. I'm going to send you two, actually, one for you and one for your wife. And when y'all get done with them, you can give one to a friend of yours who's working through a similar thing. A lot of folks who have made the turn you've made, dealing with severe childhood trauma, who have gone on to be a helper and done their own work. Other people who have been traumatized, just find them. It's just the way the world works, man. And you'll be able to hand this book. So I'm going to send you 2 copies of this. Thank you so much for being awesome. And Kelly, let's send one to Tyler too. That'd be awesome also. All right. Hey, everybody, we'll be right back. Hey, John Delony here. I say it all the time. There are no tips or tricks or hacks when it comes to living a better life. It all comes down to being intentional with the practices you do every day. And the most important practice you can do to improve your mental and physical health is to start getting enough quality sleep. I know this from personal experience and from the data. And for me, good sleep starts with a world-class mattress. It's why my family sleeps on Dream Cloud mattresses. Whether you're a back sleeper, a stomach sleeper, an edge of the bed sleeper, or just a weird sleeper, right? Or you have to make room for your dog, Dream Cloud's combo of gel memory foam and coil technology keeps you comfortable all night. And Dream Cloud is running their biggest offer ever, exclusively for our listeners. $499 in accessories plus an additional $250 discount. That's a total of $749 in accessories and savings. Pillows, mattress protector, luxury sheets, all of it. It's time to change your sleep and change your life. Visit dreamcloudsleep.com/Delony or dreamcloudsleep.com and enter promo code Delony to get your new savings and your new mattress today. All right, we are back. Let's go to Jennifer in Ann Arbor, Michigan. What's up, Jennifer?
Not much. How are you?
Good. Are you a huge Ohio State fan?
No.
No. In fact, I'm hanging up. How are you?
I'm okay. Just dealing with some family issues.
Aren't we all? Right. What you got?
So at the end of September, my mom died.
Oh, can we just park there for a second? What was her name?
Catherine.
Oof. How'd she pass away?
She actually had ALS, but we didn't find that out until the January of that year. So
okay.
She passed about 10 months, almost 10 months after we found out.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. She'd been dealing with something, and nobody could figure it out for a couple of years.
Mm.
So it was good that she passed quickly, because she was basically bedridden.
That's so hard. That's so hard on everybody, man.
Yeah.
So then the family showed up. Then what happened?
Well, that all went okay, but 2 weeks ago, my dad called and dropped a bomb on me. And the bomb is that he's getting remarried.
I was going to say, is he getting married? Oh, my gosh. To who?
To somebody from church that he's only known for about 3 months.
Oh, man.
And, my dad was the youngest child of 6. And when he moved out from his parents, he moved in with my uncle. And then he met my mom and married my mom and moved in with my mom. So he's never lived alone and had to take care of himself.
Okay.
So I understand that he's really lonely and probably hungry too. But the thing that bothered me, I wasn't even really upset that he was going to move on. I wasn't even really upset about that.
How old is he?
He'll be 72 this year.
Okay, all right.
What I'm upset about, though, is that he didn't even give 1 second thought about me in this whole process. And I'm his only child. I have a half brother, but he's my mom's son.
Mm-hmm.
He never told me he was dating anybody. He never told me that he was spending time with anyone. And I called him weekly because I knew he was lonely. He only had the dog and the TV for company.
Yeah.
It was like he didn't want me there.
Yeah. Can I reframe it for you?
Sure.
I just talked to somebody recently, very similar experience, very similar age. And the word, and they've started talking to somebody. Mm-hmm. And the word that kept coming up over and over was guilt. Guilt, okay. Guilt. And I'm imagining a scenario, right? I'm making this up. So there's 2 stories here. One is your dad's a jerk. He's cutting his daughter out. He's like, screw you. I only got 20 years left. I'm going to ride till the wheels fall off and you're not a part of it. That could be story 1. Okay. Mm-hmm. Story 2 could be, I want to give my daughter as much time as possible to grieve her mama and the picture of our family and the good stuff and the bad stuff and the messy stuff. I don't want to break her heart. But God, I'm lonely too. And then Miss Thang just walks in here to the church and then it's all right. And then that happens. And then Celine Dion starts playing and the whole thing just, here we go. So I think there's really 2 ways you can move forward. One way is you can sit down and tell your dad, hey, Dad, I just need you to know this hurt my feelings.
Yeah. Well, you don't even know the rest of the story.
Oh, okay. Bring it.
So I did talk to my dad, and, he said he was sorry for hurting me. I'm like, you're not hurting me that you want to get married. You're hurting me that you're excluding me from it.
Okay, so hold on. Can we just stop it? God, this is like the show of bravery. Good for you. You expressed your feelings to your dad, man. What a rock star. This is like I'm going to put all 3 of y'all's faces on the cover of the show. I won't actually do that, but wow. So I rarely talk to, they're like, what? I can tell my dad how I feel? Good for you. And then it went sideways. So what happened?
It did go sideways. So he said, well, because my niece, we're already coming down to Texas for my niece's wedding in about 2 months. She's getting married at the end of May. And I said, can't you wait until we're down there in May? Like, two of my boys are going to be able to come, and Chris, my husband and I will be down there. I'm like, could you wait so that we could all be together and do this? And he said, well, I'll talk to her. And then she actually messaged me on Facebook and said they were going to wait. But then my mom's best friend called me and said, your dad just came over here and invited us to the wedding, and it's April 2nd. So they're not waiting.
Did you call your dad back?
And my dad has not called me and told me that they decided not to wait.
Did you call him back?
No, I haven't.
I just did all of this praising about how brave you were, and I take it all back. All of it. I'm just kidding.
I wasn't sure. I don't know. I kind of feel like it's his responsibility as my dad to call me and say, hey, I know we told you we're going to wait, but we're not going to wait. And, you can stream the wedding from the church, and here's what day we're doing it, what time we're doing it. Mm-hmm. But he hasn't done that. And so I don't know. I didn't know if I should call him and call him out, or.
If based on what you've told me about your relationship with him so far, I would, because I'm not, especially like a message from somebody else on Facebook. I'm not going to let that affect my physiology and biology until I can just talk to the real person.
Yeah.
And so I'm just gonna, I would be on the phone and just say, like, did you move your wedding up to April 2nd? Or I just got a message from a message that you moved your wedding up to April 2nd. Is that accurate? And part of me in my guts thinks that that's probably actually what's happening. Is that what you think?
Oh, yeah. My half-brother told me, Dad texted me and invited me to the wedding, and it's on April 2nd.
So all the stuff I said earlier, if you're listening to this show and it applies to you, great. Jennifer, I'm just going to say, I'm sorry. That sucks.
It does.
Like your dad kind of hosed you, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't like that. And there's part of you that feels like you're it's not. It feels like you lost two parents. And that's hard.
Yeah, I feel like, she's got 3 daughters. They all live down there. She's got a new family, and we're moving forward, and you're part of the past. So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't really think that he feels like that, but that's kind of how it's making me feel.
1,000%. And it's hard when you've expressed your feelings and the person in front of you says, I hear you, thank you so much. Then they go do exactly opposite, or they're dishonest with you.
Right.
It's brutal, man. That gets in your soul, right? Mm-hmm. Ugh, I'm sorry that happened. So yeah, I wish I had another nicer way. Like your dad's just hosing you. He's allowed to do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
He's not being a person of character. He's not being a person of integrity. He's not respecting his daughter. And I'm sorry, because you deserve all 3 of those things. Your dad's integrity, your dad's respect, and I hate that for you, man. And so ultimately, when it all distills down, you can't do a single thing about him. His actions, his thoughts, his love for this woman, none of that.
Right.
All you can deal with is you. So my question for you is, what's next? What are you going to do?
Oh. That's why I haven't called him, because I just wasn't sure how I wanted to handle it.
Okay.
Yet.
It sounds like the 2 paths forward are to get in touch with him and say, hey, did you move your thing to April 2nd?
Mm-hmm.
And not in an exasperated way, just a factual facts of your friends, like, hey, did you move this to April 2nd? And you know what you could do? You could send flowers. Just be like, we can't make it on that day. And we'd already told you we can send flowers. And we wish you all the best. Mm-hmm. And in 4 months, when this thing's off the rails, being weird, and he calls you, then you can make that choice then. The other thing you can do is go to war. And you got a guy who's broken and grieving, and war is just going to end up in piles of bodies. Why? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
I don't think your dad's moving on from you forever. I think your dad found a tiny flashlight in a giant pit of despair, and it's something that he just keeps staring directly into the middle of. And I think that will resurface in a few months. Maybe I'm nuts. Maybe your dad hasn't liked you ever, and this is his moment to finally escape Jennifer, finally. And he's going to be on the front row with his face painted in Ohio State garb, Maybe that's the case. And he's been in your Michigan family forever. My guess is probably not. But I will say this, just as your friend, I'm sorry. You deserve better than that.
Thank you.
I wish there was another thing. I wish I could give you like another thing. It just kind of is what it is.
No, yeah, that's what my husband says too.
And hey, let's be super honest. Is there anything worse than when your husband's like, right? Oh, it's the worst.
My husband's always right.
Somebody finally said it. Well, Jennifer, I'm so grateful for you. Thanks for calling and walking us through and letting me throw all my thesi, I don't know how to say that. All of my thoughts against a wall. But yeah, man. That's just hard. I'm sorry. Being left out of the new wedding and the new life and the new all of this. So hard. If I'm you, I'd call him. That's the best I can say. I'd call him. Say, hey, did you move it to April 2nd? And then I'm going to send flowers and then I'm going to move on. And I hate that kid is your dad. We'll be right back. For the past 2 decades, I've worked with students, parents, those on the margins, and those who seem to have everything. I've met with law enforcement, military folks, struggling single moms, company presidents, and everybody in between. And there is one thread that weaves through all of these different people, that you, me, we are so lonely. We don't have real, in-depth, safe relationships. And hear me say this, you cannot be well alone. You can't do life by yourself. You got to get connected to real-life people and have deep relationships. I'm talking relationships where you can be yourself, share hard things, and know you'll show up for one another. In my new book, Own Your Past, Change Your Future, we'll walk through a not-so-complicated approach to relationships, mental health and wellness, and getting connected, because it's a key part of living a good life. You'll learn why shallowness and loneliness are so dangerous. You'll even learn how to start making real friends. So go to johndelony.com to take the next step towards wellness. That's Own Your Past, Change Your Future at johndelony.com. All right, we are back. Hey, let's take a breather. Those calls on today's show were heavy. They just were heavy. And there's some excitement and there is some deep hurt and trepidation. And there was also some just like they left me, right? This has been a heavy show. I want to pivot a little bit and just do a quick, I talk about this so much. Got a partnership with a mattress company. I tell everybody on planet Earth 10 times over they need to be listening to podcasts with Dr. Matthew Walker on them, who's one of the sleep gurus. In my new book, Own Your Past, Change Your Future, and I just hear, anytime somebody hears the phrase, in my new book, they're like, right, I'm done with the podcast. But hang with me. One of the important things we talk about is this idea that we've become smarter than sleep. I'm obsessed with it, yes, but we've become smarter than sleep. Sleep was a thing that we had to do until we came up with better things. In the 40s, Americans slept 8 hours per night in the 1940s. And our average today is about 6.5 hours. In less than a century, we've lost almost 20%, 20% of our sleep. We just lopped it off. And on most nights, 40% of people in the U.S., 1 out of 2, are sleeping less than 6 hours a night. Please hear me say this. That is catastrophic. You can go to all the counseling. You can eat all the keto diets or be fully vegan. You can have all the deep tissue massages and YOLOs and treat yourselves you want. If your body isn't getting the restorative sleep it needs, none of that matters. It just doesn't matter. It's like you can build the coolest, biggest, awesomest house with solar panels and out of concrete and steel and lasers and whatever. And if you build it on a poor foundation, the whole thing falls down. All of it. Somewhere between the 1940s and the start of time, the dawn of time, and between the 1940s and today, with all the lights and screens and events, we used to not be able to go to Roman Colosseums at 9 o'clock at night because there was no lights. They had to do that stuff during the day. Go back and watch those cool old movies. All the cool sporting events were in the middle of the day because there was no lighting rigs, right? We have 24-hour news cycles. All these things, sleep has now become something that's in the way. It's in the way of our productivity. It's in the way of our entertainment. It's in the way of our fill in the blank. So we're not just skipping it. We're telling ourselves a story that it's optional and that we can come up with other things to do instead, and it's not. Sleep and lack of sleep affects everything. Cardiovascular, reproductive, metabolic systems, our immunity, emotional and mental health, our attention span, everything. Everything is affected by sleep. Dr. Walker says that every single human function is improved or enhanced with sleep. Let me say that again. Every single human function is improved with sleep. And every single known psychiatric disorder involves impaired sleep. Long story short, the less a person sleeps, the more likely they are to die sooner and painfully. So, take a quick, honest inventory of your sleep. How long do you sleep each night? And probably subtract an hour from that. Because if you lay down at 9 and you read or toss and turn or talk or whatever, then it's 9:30-ish before you're actually starting to fade. And it's about 9:35-ish to 9:50-ish to 10 o'clock-ish, depending on what your sleep latency is, until you're actually asleep. And then you go to the bathroom, you get up, all these things you don't even know. It's so take an honest inventory of your sleep. How long do you sleep each night? Do you turn off screens an hour or two before bed? Do you treat sleep like it's optional, or you treat sleep like the core life-giving function that it is? Being well, you have to rewrite these stories. It's things like sleep are optional, that food can be whatever. We have to redo those stories. You have to rewrite them and flip these things over so that we can live well and whole lives. And again, I talk about these stories in my new book, Own Your Past, Change Your Future. If you pre-order today, you'll get so many bonus items, including, as we've continued to talk, I'm so grateful for my friends at BetterHelp.com. Had some time to hang out with them in Los Angeles. They are extraordinary, who are giving away a free month of therapy for people who pre-order the book. Go to johndelony.com today. Pre-order the book. Get it. It's $20, man, and it can change everything. As we wrap up today's show, we're going to just... right on the nose, guys, but this is literally one of my top 10 albums of all time. Off! The License to Ill record. I remember I got in trouble. My parents found this tape under my bed or something, and my dad was like, License to Kill. And I was like, no, Dad, it's License to Ill. And I remember him being like, I don't know what that means. But he didn't say it because he was a dad in the 80s, and he just looked at me. Does not compute. Gotcha, Dad. License to Ill record, the Beastie Boys, and their classic, No Sleep Till Brooklyn, and it goes like this. No sleep till Brooklyn. It's kind of an on-the-nose intro there. Foot on the pedal, never ever false metal, engine running hotter than a boiling kettle. My job's ain't a job, it's a damn good time, and city to city, I'm running my rhymes on location, touring around the nation. Beastie Boys, always on vacation. Itchy trigger finger, but a stable turntable. I do what I do best because I'm illing and able. Ain't no faking, your money I'm taking. Going coast to coast. No sleep till Brooklyn. We'll see you later. Coming up on the next episode.
So I recently got diagnosed with OCD.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the gang.
It's so fun.
Isn't it, though?
It's been a good time.
Isn't it, though? Hey, most people just do things once. We get to do them a bunch of times.
And it doesn't make us feel any better.
My girlfriend has a lot of guy friends.
It sounds like you're going to be miserable.
I don't think I'm miserable, really.
Yeah, but it makes you jealous, and you wonder what's going on, and you wonder why not you. And you get,
yeah, I guess.
Yeah, that's misery. That's